he left South Dakota to fight for the red, white, and blue.
That was an excerpt of the 8th of November by Big and Rich. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for some of you, this is going to be a little bit gruesome. And I ask you again, please remove small children from the room, and you'll see why as I go forward. I'm now going to show you assault weapons, the likes of which have been used to kill men and women in America and in England. Memphis, Tennessee, August 2011, a man beats his wife to death with a rock. Dayton, Ohio, December 2011. A 25-year-old girl beats her grandmother to death with a frying pan. St. Louis, May 2009. A woman beaten to death by her husband. June 2012. A Texas woman beats her husband to death with a wrench. November 2012. A Texas oil executive is strangled to death by two men with an extension cord. November 2010, Greenville, South Carolina. A man beats another man to death with a flashlight. December 2012, in Maplebeck, England, a 71-year-old man strangles his 70-year-old wife to death with a belt. October 2012, a man is beaten to death by a bat. The bat is used by the girlfriend's ex-husband. Electric guitar. I'm not making this up. A pastor in Texas is beaten to death in his church by a 33-year-old man. He's beaten to death in the music room of the church by an electric guitar. December 2012, a man in his 50s is beaten to death at the transmission shop where he works by a 25-year-old criminal. September 2012, a wife stabs her husband to death. Stabs her husband to death in the neck in New York City. Then, October 2012, dressmaking shears. This is near Plymouth, England, where a wife stabs her husband to death with scissors because he won't help her clean up the house before guests arrive after church, by the way. They come home from church and he stabs her to death. She stabs him to death, rather, with her shears. And then finally, look at this. Shoelaces. In Sulphur Springs, Texas, in May of 2011, a man and a woman are charged with murder for strangling to death a pawn shop owner with shoelaces. Listen to what I am going to tell you. This is what an assault weapon looks like. Gary, on me. Do you want to register all these? President Obama, Vice President Biden? Should everyone have a background check and file reams of paperwork and have to get a license or a permit to own a knife or a rock or a frying pan or a bat or an electric guitar? Where will this end? Let me tell you the one place where you can't have any of this. Ready? Prison. I've been to prison, people. You are not allowed to have any of this, right down to the shoelaces. That's the stuff that prisons are made of. Do we want to live in a prison so that we can all be safe? And oh, by the way, guess what happens in prison? People still get killed. They still get murdered. Somebody slips a knife in, a shank in, and stabs someone to death. Or they find a rope or shoelaces and they strangle someone to death. Even in prisons where all of these items are illegal, contraband, not allowed, people are still murdered. Friend, tomorrow I'm going to show you real assault weapons, okay? Guns. But in the meantime, you need to understand the problem is in our hearts. We have become a corrupt, bloodthirsty society. We are killing our own babies, and we are reaping what we sow. We've sown to the wind. We are reaping the whirlwind, and it's coming in the form of violence with assault weapons, just like these.